I'm Kaitlyn Bristowe. Your session is now starting.
Erotic therapy.
Welcome to the Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Vine. I'm your host, Kaitlyn Bristowe. Today on the podcast, we have the villain of The Secret Life of Mormon Wives, who I don't think she's actually a villain. I know how editing works, but you can find out for yourself when you listen to this podcast. Are you doing like a press tour right now? Like, are you guys all just
This is my last one because I can't
Oh,
travel.
bless.
Honestly, I shouldn't be traveling right now.
I was
I'm doing
wondering
4
that.
weeks
I know.
I know.
I was like, wow, thank you for
Whoops.
coming.
because
to
you're
do
not
this.
supposed to fly after your 36 weeks. I was 36 weeks a couple days ago.
So, and are you flying back today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Why
And
did
then I'll
they
be
say
home.
that? Just because in case you go into labor?
Yeah, I think it's like that's typically the time where it's like you start going to the OB more, and they start seeing like, are you dilated? Like, how's the baby? And blah 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 blah. Like,
Do you
are
want me
you
to
about
check if
to
you're
give
dilated?
birth? Yeah, let's check right now. Let's make
Just
sure.
to be, yeah. If you don't mind, just get the angle
Get
so I
some
can
more
check.
views.
I act like I don't know.
If a baby is born on the airline, like
Free flights
American,
for life.
it's like free flights for life.
Nuh-uh.
Try and have a.
So,
Then why wouldn't you want to? Although that would be really scary.
Wait,
that
what-
would actually terrify me. Yeah.
What airline are you on?
We're on American. Yeah, we're flying American.
Wait, you
Give
should
me those dates.
you
I'll
sh-
just chug them.
You should also just like. I wonder if this has ever happened. You should just fly all around that
Yeah.
time, but like also fly a nurse with you, like a
A
delivery
midwife?
nurse.
A midwife?
Yeah, and then like find a loophole to get free flights for the rest of your life.
Oh my
and,
gosh,
and
that's
then
so funny.
like and then have like a crazy good story
Yeah.
about you online.
I love, yeah,
You
finally.
know?
Let's replace all the other ones. Yeah.
Okay, are we good to get started? Okay, we'll
Okay.
dive into everything. Now, this is going to be an interesting interview because I've never watched the show.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
No.
Oh.
So, I'm very excited to watch it, but I also love hearing people's perspective in their own voice
Yeah.
and not from because I know how TV works too.
Yeah.
So I have just like obviously did my research and did a prep doc for it and everything. So I see what's going on and
Yeah.
I've heard about what's going on. But
Yeah.
I put it on the other night and there's a classic Nashville storm.
Yeah.
And I was like 10 minutes into it. And I was like, holy shit, this is so good. And then the power went out and I was like, oh, okay, never mind. And then I just didn't have the chance to watch
Yeah.
it. But first of all, I have so many questions, which I'm sure you've answered these same questions
It's fine.
over and
Yeah.
over. And I'm like, I want to be respectful
Yeah.
but I have questions and I'm like, what is there anything that you're like, just don't
No,
ask me
no,
this.
you're
Okay, I
fine.
love
And if
that.
there is, then I'll probably just be
Yeah.
like, why'd you ask that? I'm
well,
just kidding.
yeah,
I'm
you can
kidding.
you just call
I'll
me
leave,
out.
yeah.
You just
I'm
walk
kidding.
out of here.
No.
And yeah, I have so many questions. Okay. So were you born in the Mormon community?
Yes.
Okay.
Born and raised in the
Born and
Mormon
raised in it.
church.
And
Like
is
in the
all-
heart of it.
And is all of it true? Like you can't have alcohol, caffeine. And so you grew up like
So not caffeine.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's a misconception because we do drink caffeine, a lot of it. That's why we
Yeah.
have like all those soda shops in Utah.
Yeah.
But not coffee and caffeinated teas
Now may I ask the
Don't look at my
reasons
Starbucks.
ar-
that I just got, which is a caffeinated tea.
but may I ask why? Like what they're
Yeah, so there's this thing in the Mormon church, it's called the Word of Wisdom.
okay.
And in that pamphlet, it like gives guidelines of things to abstain from. And I mean, at the end of the day, like you have a choice whether or not you want to follow those
Oh, okay.
things. But it does say like no smoking, no alcohol, like don't go get any tattoos or multiple piercings or I'm trying to think of all the things. Did I already say coffee?
Yeah.
Like coffee, tea. That's pretty much it. I think I said it. Or like recreational drugs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what happens if you go against that? Like is it like do you guys believe in going to hell?
Yeah, no, we do believe in going
Okay,
to hell.
okay.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to you. Like you have free agency. You would have the opportunity to go to a bishop, is what they're called.
Okay.
And you would go through like a repentance process, depending on how bad it really was or how far you took whatever it is that you had done.
And do you still like as the Mormon wives on the show, are you still practicing Mormonism?
Not
is that what it's
all.
called? Mormonism?
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
yeah. Not all of us.
Okay.
Which I actually think is kind of nice
Yeah.
to see. Like you get to see like people who may consider themselves still Mormon but may not live it as devoutly, or someone
Right.
who's like very devout, or somebody who was Mormon and decides not to be anymore. You get to see that throughout the whole cast.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you go on and agree to the show knowing like I'm probably going to come out as the villain because
No.
wow.
No.
Has it been
No.
so hard for you?
No, it's nobody wants to be the bad guy.
I know. Well, some people do.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh.
I've seen like 2 seconds of Real Housewives.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think they like
You wanna
being
be
a
the bad guy.
villain, but I never know
No.
because some people might be okay with it.
Yeah. No, I don't want to. I never wanted to be the bad guy.
So
No.
okay, we'll get into all of that. So I just have a few questions about Mormon, just because
Yeah.
I've met in like the last 2 months a few people that are still they're Mormons and they live in Salt Lake City, and they were very offended about the soaking question.
Oh,
they were
soaking
like,
one?
that's
Okay.
not a thing.
No,
And
yeah.
so then I felt stupid because I was like, oh, I thought that actually was, and that was like how you guys
Yeah.
found a loophole. I'm all for loopholes, so I
Yeah.
thought it was great. But there's probably so many misconceptions.
Yes.
Is that one of the craziest?
No, that's totally a thing. I think
it
it's
is,
more.
right?
Yeah, no, it's totally a thing. Yeah,
I'm texting
absolutely.
him later.
I never participated in that,
But
it's definitely a thing. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like when you're raised in a way where you're teaching children and people like you cannot do this or you will be punished,
yeah,
they want to rebel.
absolutely.
And
Or they're curious.
or they're
like, well,
curious.
why? Yeah,
So I feel like that makes sense that you would find a way to do things in that community
Yes.
that go, hey, you know what? I would like to
absolutely.
do
And I
something.
think that's like. I wasn't involved in the swinger scandal, but I think that's also what another thing was happening. The swinger scandal. It was like, well, our spouses are agreeing to it,
Right.
so loophole.
And you guys didn't know that she was going to come out and say all of that
No.
about the swinger. So that was
No.
supposed to stay private.
Well, again, I wasn't involved. So
Right.
when I had seen it, I was just like, whoa, like this is so crazy. Like, but I'm sure the people who were involved maybe didn't appreciate that
Yeah.
was like completely blasted on the
Do you
internet.
guys all get along?
Like the whole cast?
Yeah.
No.
Oh. is it showing that I haven't watched?
No.
Okay.
No.
So who are you close with?
I'm the closest. Well, before the show, I was closest with Macy and Michaela, but now I'm the closest with Macy and Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how hard is it for your husband to sit out there and work right now while we have to talk about this?
I just saw him. I think he just left.
Oh.
I think he just walked
He was like, you
out
know what?
the
I
door.
can't do it.
Yeah. It's like, I've heard this way too many times.
How is
Yeah.
he dealing with everything?
He's great. He's actually not seen the show.
Amazing.
He's not gonna see it. His
Was he
family's
in it?
not. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very much so. Okay.
Yeah. His whole family hasn't seen it. The only person on my side of the family that saw it was my mom because I watched it with her.
And how did she feel?
My mom, she was with me during it, so she was just like, oh, like for some parts, and
Yeah.
sometimes we'd pause it and like we'd chat about it or whatnot, and
Yeah.
I'd be like angry or we'd laugh, or it was a whole emotional roller coaster.
I
while we were
bet.
watching that. But no, he's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you need somebody that's a rock in hard
Yeah,
times.
no, that's definitely
and
been him and
That's
my mom.
nice
Yeah.
because if anyone's like that could be something that tears somebody apart or
Oh,
makes you
1,000%.
stronger.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many.
And that's what they say in reality TV. Like, there's a curse, like that marriage curse.
Yeah.
Like, that they'll get divorced. I'm like, I don't. Go give that to somebody else.
yeah,
I
that's
don't want
not
that.
everybody.
Yeah,
Look at the Bachelor franchise. It's like
that's true.
there's still
Yeah.
Tristan and Ryan, the first Bachelorette, married happily, 2
Yeah.
children.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about them.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's so many challenges around certain religions. Like what was the most challenging thing for you growing up in that community?
I think just like thinking that everyone was Mormon. Like I genuinely
yeah.
thought everybody. Like I remember growing up, everyone in my junior high, everyone in my high school was Mormon. Like I never didn't have a friend that wasn't Mormon.
Right.
So
Of course that's all
and
you
then
do.
once I left, that was just like, oh, like there's actually people who like live differently.
Right.
And I was completely unaware of that.
And when you found out, did you want to see what that other life was like?
Oh, not that I wanted to partake in it, but I did have like a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And I was very curious on like why you would do certain things or make certain decisions and
Right.
oh, like how does that make you feel and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that because it would have sucked if I was still in that bubble. I think.
Do you think Mormons get a bad rep?
I think we do.
Yeah.
I
Why
think,
do you think that is?
I don't know. I think that I think there's so many misconceptions.
Yes.
And it's like, and I know the Mormon community, when the trailer came out for the show, had a really hard time with it.
Yeah.
Because the show makes it seem like we're all swingers,
Yeah.
but that's not the case.
Right.
Taylor was the only one involved, and the other women that were involved aren't in the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think from the trailer, it really like worked up to the Mormon community.
Yeah.
But I think once they watched the show, they were like, oh, okay. Like, it's
Really?
not like we're sitting down talking about church doctrine.
Right.
Like, we all have had some sort of Mormonism in our lives.
Yeah.
and we're just sharing our story.
Yeah, because I saw maybe the Mormon church commented or had a statement that
they
they put
did
out.
have a statement that they put out. Yeah.
What were they saying? That they're
Basically, like, the gist of it was like, at least my takeaway from it is like, don't read into the media as like that this is how all Mormons live. And I completely agree with that. If anything, I'm actually grateful that they put that statement out, because I didn't want people to watch it and be like, oh, so like, are all Mormons like this?
Right.
That's not the case at all. Like,
Right.
you could meet a Mormon who lives it incredibly more devoutly, or somebody, which you see on the show, who maybe doesn't.
So the ones who don't,
Yeah.
and that, like, Taylor, who was swinging and doing that kind of thing, like, is she trying to change, or is that like who she is?
No, I think she's trying to change.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because she went through some shit. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and she's sober now.
And she's
too.
sober now. Good
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I bet she feels incredible.
Oh, yeah.
My dad's 33 years sober, and I've attended like some
Oh,
AA
cool.
meetings, and I
Yeah.
know people that are sober, and like
Yeah.
they all say the same thing, that they didn't know they could live a life like full of so much joy
Yeah.
once they've gotten to the other side. So
Yeah.
I'm happy for her.
Yeah, me too.
And so good for her family too.
Yeah.
And now, are you still practicing?
Yes.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you raise your children that way.
Yes.
And you are very pregnant.
Very pregnant. My water might break.
I was like,
this interview.
You'll get free Off the Vine downloads for the rest of time.
For the rest of my life.
If you go into labor.
I love it.
I have my phone right here just in case. Could you imagine if you went into labor right now?
Oh my gosh, no, I can't.
Well,
I would be
it's-
so stressed out. Like, I'm not at my hospital. I'm not home.
When you're on the third baby, don't they come quicker than most?
I've always been late.
Oh, really?
I've always had to get induced. I would love to have a natural labor.
Yeah.
Because getting induced is the absolute worst.
Is it?
Well, you gotta.
Does it make you so sick?
I know people
too?
like it because, like, you get to schedule it and, you know, whatnot. But you literally, you go in, you can't eat beforehand. You're sitting in the bed, you're laying in bed, what feels like all day. You
Yeah.
can't eat anything. You
Yeah.
can't get out of bed because you already have if you're getting medicated, you have
Yeah.
your epidural,
Yeah.
so you can't walk.
Right. What if
No,
you
I
have to go to
hate
the
it.
bathroom?
Oh, you get
Catheter?
a catheter.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
What if you have to poop?
Well, that's why they tell you not to eat a certain amount of time ahead of time, so you don't have to poop.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
But
okay.
this last pregnancy, I did sneak in a Snickers bar. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
You dirty
Which
dog.
has to do with my
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you snuck in a Snickers, and what did that do? Anything?
Definitely made me poop while I was giving
no.
birth.
That happens though.
Honestly, I didn't even care. I was like, I'm so freaking hungry.
Yeah,
And like,
I would take.
you
I
have
would
all
take
these
that.
medications being pumped into you to like try and get this baby out. And I'm like, I've got to eat something. Like, I
That's-
feel sick.
That's my girlfriend. Got induced, and she was like so sick from all the medications
Yeah.
because she had nothing in her stomach.
Yes.
Yeah,
And it's almost like
you're not yourself when you're hungry. That's
start-
what Snickers says.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And I could start like tasting the medicine. I was just like, no.
Oh god,
And it was weird. I don't remember that with my first one, but my second one, oh yeah. I was
Are
like,
y-
I'm eating a Snickers.
How do you feel about having kids, knowing that your life is so public in this way?
I feel like, especially if you like look at my social media, like I don't involve my kids as much in my social media. And when you watch the show, I know you haven't seen it yet, like they're there,
Yeah.
but like they're never the focal point. Like
Yeah.
they're just there and they'll always be there, like, because they're my kids. And
Right.
I don't have like a live-in nanny and I don't want that. Like
Yeah.
I want to be the nanny.
Oh, I will definitely be getting a nanny if I ever have kids. I'm like, help me. That's how I'll be. Okay, I want to talk about MomTok
Let's do it.
because I did a TikTok or an Instagram story or something when I was in the south of France not
Yeah.
too long ago, and people were like, "What is this, a mom talk?" And I was like, "What is mom talk?" I thought they were like calling me old or something.
Yeah.
And so then I got down a rabbit hole of mom
Yeah.
talk. How did you first get involved in mom talk?
Okay, so I mean, I know in the cast it looks like that's all that MomTok is, but MomTok was so much bigger than that. Like there was like 25 women.
Really?
Like it was so big and it was so fun. Like we'd all get together, we'd have these gatherings at somebody's house, we'd eat junk food, we'd make funny TikToks,
Yeah.
we'd twerk together. Like it was
Yeah.
just a party and
Yeah.
I loved it. So yeah, it was significantly bigger than that. And like moms would just like, you know, reach out and be like, "Hey, I want to come to the next one." And of course we'd be like, "Yes, absolutely."
Yeah.
Like come on, come on down. And then it kind of like obviously narrowed down for the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how the swinging started, was because of the mom talk?
Well, when Taylor goes on when she goes on and explains like the story of the whole swinger scandal, like I know that she states all of MomTok.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was stated that way, but there was only one other couple
Oh.
in MomTok
Okay.
that was involved in it.
Okay. And then were you a full-time content creator before the show?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, very
So-
much so.
So that's like what you were doing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you feel like you were getting love and support during that time and then everything shifted after the show, or were people already hard on you?
Well, I mean, it comes and goes.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you'll have a video and it will be like, okay, that clearly was not the response I was thinking. So whoops. And
Yeah.
then you just
Like
move
what's
forward.
an example of a video you did there?
The video with my son in the hospital. I don't know if you know about that video. Okay, well, my son was very sick and I made a video when I was in the hospital, and people like will make jokes about it and whatnot. And that was taken.
I actually do know about this, but I didn't realize it was you.
That was me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was taken way out of context. But that was like the first time I had like received a massive amount of hate.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can like deal with it better now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like stuff like that. Like you just never know how.
And
somebody's
have
gonna take a video.
you addressed all of that like since, I'm sure, and talked about it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So because I'm like, what was the context? So
Yeah.
he was. Or do you not want to talk about it?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
He was sick. He was doing better. I made a video and people took it out of context.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we're past that.
We're past
Okay.
that. We're moving on.
We're on to
Yeah.
other reasons.
Yeah,
people
bigger
are
and better
mean
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you hear about the show and get involved in it?
So Taylor, Macy, Michaela, and I were all reached out first.
Yeah.
From the production team. We were talking to a lot of different producers, and then, we all finalized on one, and then created a pilot, and then 2 years later, like finalized a cast, and then made the season, which we filmed this January.
Oh.
Is when we started filming. And we filmed for like about 4 months.
Why did I think it took like 2 years to?
Well, because it did. Like, because the pilot, they did keep parts of the pilot, which was 2 years ago.
Got it.
Which people will make jokes like, oh my gosh, you guys change your hair so much and your look so much. And I'm like, well, yeah, but like that was 2 years ago.
Oh, that makes sense.
And then this is the season, so
People
they're
don't
kind
understand
of
TV
intertwined.
tricks.
Yeah. So I could
that's
see how that
interesting.
would be confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what was the whole process of filming like? Like when you are filming it and then watching back, is it a complete different situation than you thought it was? Because I always try and give it like I always try to understand these things because like for example on The Bachelor, I was like, our season's gonna be so boring. There's no drama. We all get along. And I watched it back and I was like, what did I miss? So then I'm like, did you watch back and be like, that's fair? Or did you feel it was heavily edited?
There were definitely things that were edited, but I also think like things that weren't in it that maybe were, if were in it,
would give it more
would give more context
Yeah.
to
Context
why
is everything,
people
and you
would have
can't-
made certain decisions.
Can you give me an example? Because I haven't watched.
Yeah, of course. Well, you kind of watched the first episode, right?
Like I was like hyped when you guys all grabbed hands in the blue jacket. And I was
then
like,
and then it crashed. Yeah.
And then it crashed.
Well, when you watched it, have you seen it? Okay. So when you watch the first episode, there's a scene where I'm like talking about a video that like made me upset.
Yeah.
It makes it seem like I'm upset about this swingers scandal video.
Yeah.
But that's not the video at all.
Got
so it's
it.
like right off the bat, it's like starting off that like I have like this animosity towards Taylor.
Got it.
Yeah.
What was the
Where I'm
video
like, oh,
you
this
were really
is so
upset
interesting.
about?
There was a video that, and this was again 2 years ago before we had even filmed the season. There's a video that she had made with Macy, like insinuating that Macy was the only one there for her, like during the whole swinger scandal.
Yeah.
And then you'll see in like the first episode, Michaela and I are coming to her talking about this video, but we're talking about that because we're like, well, wait a second, like we were there for you. We got a lot of hate for it.
Yeah.
But it makes it seem like we're talking about the swinger scandal.
Gosh, that happened to me so many times on Bachelorette. I was like crying, talking, and I was like, I was talking about a complete different guy.
Yeah.
You made it
Yeah.
seem like I was so into this guy, but I was
Yeah.
actually crying about another guy.
Yeah.
Like the TV
It's
tricks are.
interesting. Yeah.
and- I mean, that's why shows do well, though.
Yeah. They're
It's-
creating a story.
Right.
Yeah.
With fall right around the corner, perfect time to kickstart a new fitness routine or revive an old one. And just because summer's over doesn't mean my schedule has slowed down, and that's why I love Alo Moves. It's this amazing health and wellness app that helps me stay on top of my wellness game no matter where I am. So whether I've got a full hour or just 5 minutes, there's always a class that fits my schedule. From yoga and Pilates to strength workouts, they have everything for every single level. And it's not just about working out. Alo Moves also offers meditations, sound baths. I've been getting so into sound baths, nutrition tips, and self-care tutorials. Basically everything that you need for a balanced wellness routine. And since I started using Alo Moves, I found it so easy to just sneak in a quick workout wherever I am. So no more excuses, Kaitlyn. If you want to give it a try, head over to allomoves.com and use code VINE for an exclusive 30-day free trial. Plus enjoy 20% off an annual membership. That's allomoves.com. Code VINE for a 30-day free trial and 20% off an annual membership. allomoves.com, code VINE. Okay, so my friends over at Brooks sent me their brand new Glycerin Max, and I have to say these shoes are a game changer. Completely redefined what a running shoe can be, and I'm really excited to share my experience with you. That's how good it is. So first off, the Glycerin Max is the first of its kind for Brooks, and you can feel the difference with every single step, whether you're a seasoned runner or just starting your fitness journey. Those shoes are designed to elevate your run from the moment you hit the pavement or the treadmill. The shoe features DNA-tuned cushioning, which is their next-gen nitrogen-infused foam that's been expertly tuned for the ultimate running experience. The heel is all about plush, soft landings, while the forefoot gives you that responsive bounce to spring you forward effortlessly. And trust me, you'll feel the difference, especially on those long runs when every bit of support counts. I wear them to my Barry's Bootcamp class for the running. It's incredible. And one of my favorite things about the Glycerin Max is the Glide Roll Rocker. This design really helps you transition smoothly from heel to toe, making your run feel almost effortless. It's like the shoe is doing half the work for you. I used to get shin splints and I don't anymore. So I've been running in these for a bit now, and it just feels like I could keep going. Well, maybe not forever, but for a long time. The combination of soft cushioning and responsive support just makes each step feel light and energized. It's like running on clouds, but with the right amount of bounce to keep you moving forward. So if you're looking to take running out to the next level, you gotta check these out. Head on over to brooksrunning.com and learn more to get your hands on the best pair of running shoes. When you signed up for reality TV, what was like the most unexpected thing that you've gone through where you're like, wow, I did not expect this?
I didn't know it was that much filming.
Ah,
Like, I had no idea, like, every single day.
yeah, that's exhausting.
And it was exhausting. And a lot of times talking about the same thing over and over again, like different topics. And so it was like hard to watch it and be like, oh, I do remember that. But I also talked about it here, which would have made more sense why I'd said that there, stuff like that.
The time lapse, how did that affect the narrative of the show?
Oh, I actually think they did a great job. I mean,
Okay,
I
good.
think when you watch the first episode, again, like the pilot and the season are like intertwined together.
Yeah.
So our looks are like so incredibly confusing. I think even when I watched it, I was like, wow, like, because I'm even
like
like
no
a little
continuity.
fatter too. I was just like, oh, like, because I just took Ozempic like the next day, I guess, and lost all this weight. But after the first episode, the rest of it is congruent.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Are there any scenes that you regret filming?
I don't think there's any scenes that I regret filming. I think that like watching back, it's like I'm proud of it, but I'm also like not proud of it with like how vulnerable I was about personal stuff in my life. It was hard to watch.
And tell me why, like vulnerability, because I love vulnerability and I like when
Yeah.
people are real and raw and share things, and it's probably like cathartic at the time, and
Yeah.
then you're like, ooh, maybe I like when I'm such a open book, and then
Yeah.
sometimes I like later on I'm like, shouldn't have said that, and like
Yeah.
I didn't need to share that in that moment.
Yeah.
But what is something that you shared that you wish you didn't?
I guess just like in general being vulnerable, like in certain scenarios, like or like really expressing how I really felt, but then you don't know the backstory when you watch the show
Yeah.
as to why I'd really felt that way and why I had said that.
Yeah.
Because then it just makes it sound like I'm just a bitch and I'm just coming out
Right.
and saying this, you know?
Gosh, that's got to be hard because they always need a villain of the season. Like any season of television, there's going to be they cast for specific roles.
Yeah.
So that's the role that you kind of had to take on without
I guess
knowing
I had no
it.
idea. I'm not like a huge avid reality TV watcher.
Yeah.
I love Love is Blind.
Yeah, oh, so good. Yeah.
I am devoted to that one.
Yeah, I get
I
it.
love that one.
Yeah.
So I just felt like I wasn't really aware.
Is there going to be a season 2 or we don't know yet?
We don't know yet.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
yes. Okay. I mean, it did so well.
Yeah.
Like it's really so in season 2. How are you gonna? If there's a season 2, when whatever you want to say,
Right.
How are you gonna approach it?
I mean, I just want to continue to be myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to feel like I need to have like
Yes.
some like calculated game. I just want to like, if there's like animosity towards other women, which there is, I would love to like sit down and figure out what that is.
I love that
And
though,
why.
because I think that would be really hard to go into another season, and part of you probably wants to redeem yourself because you're like,
Yeah.
this is not exactly who I am, and
Right.
but also you're like, I don't want to be calculated and lose who I am just to try and be something else to make
Yeah.
other people on the internet like
Yeah.
me, like, you know. So I like that.
And I think like during that time, like I was going through so much that of course, like when I watch it, I'm like, well, yeah, I was reacting that way because of what there's a reason why we react to certain things in our life. And unfortunately, you know, there was some context that wasn't there as to why I made certain decision or as to why I reacted that way,
Right.
which doesn't always make it right. There were definitely reactions where I was like, whoa, like dramatic.
Yeah,
Calm
yeah.
down there, Whitney.
Yeah.
Pull the reins back.
Yeah.
But no, I just want to continue to be myself. I don't know.
I respect
You have
that.
great moments and bad moments. And I'm sure if a camera was following you around and you were only showing your bad moments, like, of course you're not going to be a likable person. Like, nobody's going to want to hang out with you, you know?
I wish everybody could watch reality TV through a lens of somebody who's been on reality TV.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
I agree.
it's kind of one of those things where you wish everyone in the world had been a waitress or a waiter at some point in their life so that they, you're like,
can
I
appreciate,
wish.
the service. Yeah.
When I had to face all of the men at my men tell all and they're all grilling me with questions and doing things, I was like, you guys,
Yeah.
you try dating 30 women
Right.
on national television, have it edited
Right.
and not make a mistake.
Right.
Not like you're not gonna like every reaction you've done, and you're not gonna like every choice you've made. You're not,
course.
because you're a human being and you're also being edited.
That's exactly right.
And that's really hard.
Yeah.
So
Somebody else is narrating your story.
and how scary is that to go into another season if it is knowing that? You're like, I'm gonna hire a different entertainment lawyer for my contract.
No, I will say though that like one thing that like I really learned from this last season is I just like want to let go of like what I can't control. I can't control what other women are going to say or do or whatever, but like I control what I can control. And I also don't want to take things as personally as I did in the first season.
How hard is it to not take something personally? Like
I know.
I try and live like that too. And when you're not, that's hard to live by even when you're, say you had no social media, you were never on television, and you're just living your life in like a small bubble. It's still hard to not take things personally.
Yeah.
So how do we do it?
I think at least what I do is I'm like, I have no idea what they're going through.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, that's a good
there's
perspective.
something they're reacting this way because either A, they really are upset with me, and if they are, like, I'd love to sit down and talk about it, like, genuinely, and let's figure it out. Or B, you know, maybe they're projecting because something is going on in their life that I don't know about. Like, again, watching the first season, I'm just like, you genuinely have no idea what someone's going through.
Yeah.
People are reacting to things in a certain way because of it. You
Like
know?
when, even for myself personally, when I react a certain way to like, say, a relationship, a partner, a friend, a family member, it's usually because I'm going through something.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm mad at somebody on the internet, I'm probably jealous. I like there's certain things where I'm like, I'm 39, I've done a lot of therapy, so I'm able to like see that now, but people don't, you know, think that way a lot of times. So that's a good.
But I want to have that mindset more because
and when you like, I don't know who the girls are that you don't get along with, but like in between filming, if there is a season 2, did they say like hold off on having conversations with them? Yeah, because they want to see it on.
Yeah, they want it real time.
Because as an audience, we would want to see that too.
Yeah, like you, and that would be hard to, you know, I would want it too. It'd be more authentic and raw and genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you haven't talked to the people that.
No, I haven't. Not in person.
I want to know how you and your husband met.
Okay, such a cool story. So I actually served a mission.
Okay.
Like I was one of those missionaries, name tag and everything, knocking on doors.
Yeah.
In good old Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
I love Tennessee because as I'm driving through, I'm like, oh, this reminds me so much of Georgia.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah. My husband is from Atlanta, Georgia. When I was serving my mission, he was on his mission in Brazil.
Yeah.
I served, they're called wards, and it's like a congregation. And it's about like the area that you're in is how that congregation is put together to go to church. Anyways, I was in his parents' ward. And so I knew his family. I knew everything, you know, about him, what it felt
What
like.
year was
But he
this?
was on his mission. This was in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's on his mission. Da, 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 da. Anyways, I come home, like, living my best life, I guess. I'm in college, and one of my guy friends wants to take out one of my girlfriends. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. But, like, you know, I had just gotten through a really bad breakup, and I was like, you got to find someone for me because if you want me to go for moral support, like, and it happened to be Connor.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Like I know his whole family. This is so fun, you know? So Connor and I were mainly moral support for this mutual friend we had and my girlfriend. Well, my girlfriend bails on the date. She's like, no. She said yes, and then she said no. And then he still took me out though. So Connor and I still went out and we had so much fun, and then it went from there.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm like, it was like a blind date, but I also knew everything about him.
This just came to my brain right now.
Yeah.
How do Mormons feel about the musical, The Book of Mormon?
I want to see it. I know some people take. Oh, do you think it's really offensive?
Yeah, but I
really?
love offensive humor.
Okay.
And
So
I
do
went,
I. So
okay,
that's
then
why I'm like,
maybe
I
you
think it would be
could-
funny.
it's
Because I've heard some of the songs and I'm like, that's hilarious.
it's so freaking unhinged in like the
I want to
best
see
way.
it. No, I
Okay.
want to see it.
Okay.
Want to go backstage. I want to meet all the performers. Please
Yeah,
get pictures
yeah.
with them. No, I think it looks so funny. I do know that, I mean, yeah, some people are going to take offense. Some people are going to think it's funny. Like,
Because I'm sure there's a lot of misconceptions in that.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
in that musical too.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know what I was walking into, and I remember being like, if I was Mormon, I'd be like, holy shit, I like that, and I don't get offended easily.
That
And I
makes
was
me want
like,
to see it even more.
oh my
Okay.
gosh! I also just realized there's more weight on the side. I'm like, I only put in one earring today. That is so me. That is so me. Oh my gosh! What is the craziest rumor that you've heard about you or your relationship online?
Oh my gosh, that my husband's gay.
Stop.
Yes. And I'm
People-
like,
why?
I'm
Why
like,
do
do I
people
need
think
to put
that?
out like a sex tape or something? Like,
Yeah,
trust me, we're good.
yeah.
Like, everything's fine.
Why do they think that?
I think it's because, like, when we were going through our personal stuff, and I know you haven't seen it, but he struggled through a porn addiction.
Got it.
And there's a scene where one of my friends says something along the lines like, oh, like, I can see how, like, he was confused sexually. He was sexually assaulted at a very young
Oh,
age. I know
gosh.
it's a trauma he's worked through. It's
Yeah.
so inspiring. But and then I think people kind of took that out of context.
Of course.
And I'm just like, yeah, no. And when you watch it, his hair is changing so much. But again, we're filming the pilot and then 2 years later it's the season. And what happens is we
That's
come
good to
back from
clear up.
Hawaii
Yeah.
and his hair's bleached.
Yeah.
And then we shave it
Yeah.
because he's prepping for a hair transplant. So then he has a hair transplant and then he has this whole head of hair.
Got it.
So everyone's like, what is going on? I'm just like, it's because of everything. Like,
Yeah, people
just
don't
like the
understand
timeline.
timing.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, it's not like we're changing, but it looks like we're changing his hair like every day. And I'm like, no, that's not it at all.
Oh my gosh. That
know.
is a wild rumor.
Yes,
You should
no, it's
definitely
insane.
release a sex tape.
Yeah, I will.
It works out well for a lot
And
of people.
Yeah. Kimmy K.
Yeah,
Look at her life.
I've thought
She's
about
a
doing that.
billionaire.
Yeah. I got a couple things in the
Right?
archives I could throw out there, see what happens. You
I
never
love
know.
it. Oh gosh.
You never freaking know. Wow. And then what's the craziest rumor you've heard about yourself?
Ooh, I actually don't know.
Is there anything out there that you're like, I want to clear that up?
I think just like things about the show.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
But
when
are you
I
like
see-
contractually up? No, what were you going to say?
No, there are things that I have said where I like gave more context.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I did. And whether people, you know, want to accept it or not, like that's okay. Like
Yeah.
that's up to you. But yeah, that's probably like the biggest thing. Like, oh, like, well, you know, why did she react that way? And I'm like, well, like this is why I reacted that
Yeah.
way, you know?
My producer did watch the show.
Oh, cool.
And so she helped me with the notes.
Oh, good.
But she said you were open about how Connor was on Tinder during the first part of your marriage.
Yeah.
How did you find that out?
It was about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And there were these videos coming up on my TikTok and they were like, oh, I just like saw Connor Leavitt on Tinder. And I remember showing my husband, I'm just like, what a joke. Like people are so crazy. Like they're making all of this
Yeah.
up. Da, 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 da. And then that night he had told me everything.
Oh, wow.
Like about the porn addiction, about Tinder. The sexual assault didn't come till later. And I think
Mhm.
it's because that was more traumatizing for him to talk
course.
about. Through EMDR and therapy that he went through and everything, he finally felt comfortable to talk about that.
Yep.
But yeah, I just remember sitting there and like him telling me all of this and just being like
That's overwhelming.
I don't know what my life is. Yeah, like this is so,
How did you get
what's
through
real?
that?
I mean, it took time. Like
Yeah.
I would say that first year was like probably one of the hardest years of my marriage.
I would
by
assume
far.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because it was just a constant roller coaster.
Well, and how do you get trust and confidence back in that to move forward?
I think
Because
you
I
have to
hold
make
grudges.
a choice. Yeah. No, I think you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to gain this trust back?
Right.
Or do you not want to? And it comes from both sides. Like there were so many things that he needed to change. And I needed to change too, obviously, because now I've built up anger and
Yeah.
resentment and also insecurities
Of course.
off of it that I needed to change.
Right.
And it takes a lot of work and time.
Yeah, I bow down to you for that one because I just hold grudges. That's something I need to work on. Is like the level of forgiveness that somebody needs that's
Yeah.
impressive that you can get there.
Yeah.
How's your relationship evolved since that and since the show and everything? I mean, he doesn't watch, so that's good.
Yeah, no. And I think if he did, like, I think he would be fine.
Yeah.
Like, I really do.
He's just choosing.
No, it's interesting, and I've said this before, like, and I don't wish this on any marriages, but I think when you go through like a very traumatic scenario like that in your relationship, something that's can be so damaging on your relationship, and you both are working together to like get through the other side, wow, is your marriage stronger than ever.
Yes.
And that's, I feel like, how we are right now.
I mean, I can't even imagine, because I feel like that's life in general,
Yeah.
is when you go through something hard and you work through it.
And even any relationship, like even
Yes.
friendships. It's like, okay, like if we both want to, come together and work through this, like
Yeah.
let's go through it, but like let's go through it.
Yeah.
Let's not
don't
stay
push
in
it down
it
and avoid it.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Then we have to work through it, and both of us have to be in that same tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay, good taste is just it's such a subtle thing. It's one of those qualities that really stands out in today's world, especially when it comes to the car that you choose to drive. You want a vehicle that's sophisticated but not pretentious, bold yet timeless, and I am obsessed with the Range Rover Evoque. This stunning SUV is the perfect blend of refined design, cutting-edge technology, and luxurious materials. It brings a whole new level of elegance and comfort to your drive. With its clean lines and captivating character, the Evoque is like art on wheels. From its distinctive floating roof to the modern tailgate graphics that create a sense of motion, this car makes a statement without saying a word. And when you step inside, you're greeted by a calm, minimalist cabin that feels tailored just for you. So if you want to experience a ride that's as charismatic as it is stylish, the Range Rover Evoque is your go-to choice. It's truly luxury in motion. Explore the Range Rover Evoque at LandRoverUSA.com. Okay, I heard also you want to get into acting.
Yes.
Tell me everything.
Yeah, so I've been doing it for a couple years now. I've been
Cool.
doing smaller projects, but it's interesting. Ever since the show has come out, like I've had opportunities to talk with bigger networks and casting directors, which is really exciting. So I'm really excited after this baby to like really dive in on that, because
You are ambitious.
No, I love that. I love film. I've always loved film,
Oh.
and I've always been in like. I've loved entertainment. I love the entertainment industry. And reality is a definitely different take, I feel like. But I've always just enjoyed entertaining. And I think that's why I fell in love with TikTok. Like, I just loved entertaining.
I
Like,
get
it was
that.
just fun. And I got to do it from home. Like, how nice.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I love entertaining. I love hosting a podcast. I love
Yes.
doing Instagram stories. I love doing dance
Yeah.
things and like that's so fun. But so did you act at all in your like life?
So I graduated in theater with an
Cool.
emphasis in dance, from my college. And I had never like gotten into film
Yeah.
until like 2 years ago. And I was starting to do little projects here and there. And I just fell in love with it.
That's so
Yeah.
fun. I do feel like there are people out there that are just like born to entertain.
Yeah.
And you're
I hope I'm one of them.
well, you already are.
Okay.
You already are one of them.
Thanks.
You're definitely entertaining, like even if it's just your TikTok, whatever
Yeah.
you're doing. Like it's you're giving the people what they
Yeah,
want.
good.
That's what specific like projects or roles would you be interested in?
Oh my gosh, I love fantasy.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, if have you read A Court of Thorns and Roses?
Oh
my God.
It's honestly sitting at my house and I need to
Yes.
start. Because
Okay.
I heard the first one's hard to get through and then it's just like, what?
I
Yeah.
loved the first
did?
one. Whoever's
Oh.
telling you that. I mean, the second one's my favorite.
Yes,
by
that's what
far.
I
The
heard.
second
Okay, maybe
one's
that's
so
what it was
good.
like. Get through the first just to get to the
Yes.
second.
Please just put me on that show.
Yeah.
I will literally be the gardener, like scooping up poop if you want me to.
Yeah.
I would love to be on a series like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. I love
would be
fantasy.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, every podcast I have a segment where I make someone do a confession of an embarrassing story.
Okay.
So now's the time to confess to me.
Oh,
or what do you
man.
guys? I'm the bishop. You are. I'm just kidding.
We're
Confess
gonna
to
have
me.
like an actual confession. Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay, I've got a really good one.
Okay.
So after you give birth,
Yeah.
especially for me because I'm filled with so much friggin' medication
Yeah.
to give birth, to
Yeah.
get induced, you get so constipated,
Oh yeah.
like so badly.
I've heard this.
And my first one, I don't know why. And even when I talk to my friends, they're like, why did they never prescribe you stool softeners? Like,
Right.
that's just like a common thing, I guess.
It's very common. I
Never
even know that.
prescribed it. No,
Yeah.
I was never prescribed it.
Oh no.
And again, this is my first one. And
Yeah.
it's like, I never thought that like this was like a question I need to ask.
Yeah.
And also my first one. So you're tearing a little bit
Yes.
more. So it's even more painful.
Ow! I just clenched so hard. I was just like my butt just went.
And obviously they stitch you.
Yeah.
So it's like using those muscles again, like it hurts. No, it's painful. So I can't believe I'm sharing this story. Whatever, it's the best one. I could not poop.
Yeah.
But not because it wasn't there. Trust me, it was there. It was because it was so incredibly painful.
Yeah.
I had to go in the shower
Yes.
and just
Warm it up?
Just take a dump in the shower
Wow.
because I needed something to relax me.
That's fair.
Because it was so incredibly painful.
Have
oh
you
my
never
gosh.
heard of poppers?
No.
Oh, in the gay community?
Yeah.
They'll take a popper and
Yeah.
it helps just release and open up and it's only like 20
I guess that's
seconds.
what I need.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
a popper. I think it's actually like quite like it's like a drug, so I don't know if you want to do that. I don't recommend this, but I've heard in the gay community that they take poppers and it just like opens you up.
Sorry,
and
what
release.
is it? Is it like something you actually put in
I
your...
think you sniff it.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Well, I got to look that up for baby number 3 because let me tell you, even after I had my second one, I did have stool softeners, didn't have to poop in the shower, but still so freaking painful.
Every girlfriend, I have a lot of girlfriends who have babies, and
Yeah.
every single one has had a story like that.
Yeah.
And so you are in the mom
Crazy.
community that there's
Yeah.
a lot of moms that watch and listen, and they probably have a very similar story.
Oh gosh,
I'm
it's so
not
painful.
kidding you. This is you just reminded me of the story. A girl I worked with back in the day, and I of course would never name her name for this, but she told me that she was so badly constipated and that it was like right there. Her husband had to take tongs,
What?
and she like bent over.
To pull it out? Why do I feel like the tongs would hurt? Like, I'm assuming some of it was already out then.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So there's
I
that.
think what I wish I would have done is probably just like on enema
yeah.
to like soften it all up
yeah,
up there.
just have it
because
yeah.
it's there. So it's like, oh
Hey,
gosh, it's just
no
so
sh-
painful.
I feel like there's no shame in any mom game out there. Like
Amen.
it's one of those things where I'm like, if you gave birth, you are allowed to
Yeah,
do
you can do
and
anything.
whatever
Yeah.
you need to do to do whatever to make you
Yes.
feel in any type of way, you do it.
Amen.
I
agree with
I
that.
really bow down to moms.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
like the most common question that you're asked where you're like from people watching the show, what's their number one question they ask you?
I'll get asked a lot why I reacted. Okay, so there's a scene where I'm gifting Fruity Pebbles to one of the castmates,
Okay.
and she's upset that I had given her this gift, and then I act upset, and people are like, "Why would you be so
Why is she
upset?"
upset? Okay.
That well, it was like a sexual innuendo and a very
Got it.
private sexual innuendo.
Okay.
But I had called her ahead of time to make sure it was okay
Oh.
that I brought this gift. So that's why I'm reacting that way. That like,
makes sense.
oh, she's so mad. It's like, well, I'm pissed because I'm like, what? Like, what are you? Why are you
Yeah,
acting
you're like,
this way?
You knew this was happening.
Yeah, it's like stuff like that where I'm like, oh, if the context was there, then yeah, like, of course, if I were to give somebody a gift and they would have been offended, I would never.
Yeah.
Any human being, I really genuinely feel like would have been like, oh my gosh, like I'm so sorry. Like, but in that scene, I looked just like pissed that I had given this person a gift and they didn't love it. But that wasn't the case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so interesting because it would be so easy to pigeonhole someone into a villain role on TV.
I know.
So
I've learned
easy.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned
Oh
that the
my-
hard way. It is very entertaining.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
They did a great job.
Well, so
It's a
one
great
of my
job.
really good friends is Rob Mills, who's like the head of
Okay,
Hulu,
yeah.
and
He's a really nice guy.
he's the best.
Yes.
I love him so much, and I was at dinner with him, and he was like, "You just wait for this mom
Yeah.
Mormon show to
Yes.
come out," and he was like, "Hey, you're gonna love it."
Yeah.
So I can't wait to watch.
No, you might want to binge it.
I think I will tonight.
Yeah.
I have no plans.
Yeah, do it.
Thank you so much because I
Thank
know this is
you.
probably nice and hard to keep like reliving certain things
Yeah.
and having to explain yourself. But thank you for doing it and
No, thank you.
being yourself. Like
Thank you.
I like when people like
My baby is moving so much right now. I
Really?
don't know if you guys have like seen, like little kicks,
Oh, I
like
see now.
yeah,
oh I'm
yeah. I'm just like,
obsessed.
whoa.
I'm like
Someone's loving it here.
well come on out baby.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
the downloads. Just kidding. I always said like when I went on The Bachelor, my friends and family were like, and I'm not saying this to toot my horn, they just said this to me, like they're like, you're so authentic and down to earth and yourself. Just keep that. Like
yeah.
don't try and be anyone else. And my friend knows I'm obsessed with Nirvana and Kurt Cobain, and she sent me this quote, and it was Kurt Cobain quoted, "I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not."
Yeah. I love that.
And that's how I feel like everybody should live.
I agree.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Amen
Yeah.
to that. Amen to you.
Thank you.
Amen to the Mormons. That's how I'm ending it.
I love it.
I'm Kaitlyn Bristowe. Your session is now ending. And if I'm being honest, I wouldn't mind a rating and review.